and it's this just very ornate, I would even gaudy looking chest, and you can definitely see it has Adrex in particular, because he's an expert on this subject. You can see the Fey influence in the design and artistry of this box.
Birdie is very disappointed because he didn't get to use his shovel.
Wendy's gonna come clean herself off in the river.
I'm going to check the chest for traps.
That's a
You
good
go over it
idea.
and it's not trapped. It's not even locked. There's not even a locking mechanism on it. It's just...
I suggest we move it inside the forge and open it.
All right. Sounds good to
So
me.
what do you do with the Fisher Monk?
I say
Seeing
leave
it,
them to the orcs.
yeah, that's what Raazu was thinking as well.
It'd probably be kinder just to throw them in the river.
Do we want him? Why don't we just set him free? Like, we don't care.
Because he's
Not
gonna
a
go.
problem.
He is gonna go running back to
They work for the bitch lord
the
Teo.
bitch lord
Yeah,
tattle on us.
yeah.
Do you really think word of this isn't going to go back to Taglith anyway with the goblins running around?
I mean, they freed a bunch of giants too.
Yeah, we've kind of made it. We've kind of made a mess of the whole thing.
We always make a mess.
Raazu's very, very fine with just letting the orc, what's his name, the orc guy, deal with
Adrex's
it.
position
Plus,
is
I'm gonna be real
we
with
don't
you.
kill
I
him.
don't want this prisoner anymore. We pretty much solved whatever she was looking for. Let's just give her to him and just let him go. Two problems out of my hair, out of my feathers.
Actually, I think Red had the good idea of, hey, let's go like shopping. Adrix starts browsing around all the weapons and armor and stuff.
Mostly what's going to be in here are going to be longswords and longbow accoutrements. There is some chainmail and plate armor here, but most of what's in here is at best damaged, because her job was to repair it and fix it up. You could...
Well, there. How about that? How about we let them free as long as they repair a set of plate mail for Raazu here. There, everyone happy?
I have no opinion one way or the other.
That's a great idea. Sure.
So I guess the last question is then, originally, Nuga, for his part in pulling off the coup against the Orc Eater, wanted half of this treasure.
So what's in this box? Can you?
Yeah, we have to see what it is. That's why I got everybody in here to see what's in the box.
Yeah.
Opening up the box, most of it looks like standard treasure. A box filled with shiny coins and gems. No small amount of them either. More than you guys have ever seen in one place, easily. But laying atop of this box, laying atop of just these kind of this pile of treasure, is a golden and silver rod, like a metal rod. Looking at it, it's maybe 3 feet long, maybe about as big around as your fist. So it's not something you can pick up with one hand. This is something you have to actually have some weight and heft to it. And there's some kind of decoration, some kind of ornate thing twisted around it. And at first you think it's just a part of the feature, but looking at it, it almost looks like it's a person twisted around this thing. A boy with very light features, again, very Fey influence, and turning it this way and that in the sunlight, the facial features on this this boy, you can't tell if it's agony or if it's ecstasy. Adrex, as soon as Red opens his box, you instantly become very aware that this is what Severus is after. This is what he sent you to take.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're good then, because when we originally made the deal, we said there's going to be something in the box. That's ours. We'll give you half of whatever regular treasure is left. We give them half of what's in this box. We call it a day.
Yeah.
I mean, the box is gold, right?
Birdie. Yeah, Birdie, looking at this staff and Adrex's response to it, you're knee-jerk as a man who appreciates a fine treasure and worked for a dragon for many years. You would figure that this rod alone is half of the value of this treasure.
I mean, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna tell the orcs.
Birdie's
that.
like, okay, let's just very quietly sneak away.
I mean,
We give them half of the treasure. We give them the box, the golden box, and we say we got the other thing that
And
we
they
were
sick
after.
the dogs on you.
This is a lot of
It's a
treasure,
lot.
right,
It's quite a
Rick?
lot.
You said. So, like, we just don't tell them how valuable the other thing is. They'll be happy with this. It's not like we're cheating them.
Is it just jewels and
Yes.
gold?
Except for this
Okay,
rod.
so there's nothing else.
Windy, make a
Does
wisdom check.
All right.
Adrex picks up the rod, holds it in
It's
front
very
of Birdie. Still, he's securing it as much as possible because he knows what Birdie is going to do. But he shows it in front of Birdie and says, "Is this magical?"
I mean,
That's a 15,
15?
Brett. Yeah.
So you're thinking that, like, we just don't tell him what this thing is worth. But the thing there is that he's served at this compound for some time, and he's aware of the ritual that was being undertaken daily in service of this item. Even if these orcs don't understand the value of the item, they surely will know that it's magical in some way.
All right. How much treasure is in this box?
I haven't rolled it.
I mean-
do you want me to roll it and find out?
Yeah.
It's basically the deal is that they get all the gold coins with the rod. is
Oh
what
no,
it's gonna have to
absolutely.
be.
I get that. That's the deal.
Okay.
I'm saying that if there's enough treasure in here, I don't actually need very much, but I could very much use a little bit of money. So if there's a way that I can take just a small amount of this treasure,
So,
like, Birdie turns.
is
to
your
the-
guys, like, Wendy, are you, just make sure we're on the same page, are you looking to skim something off the top before reporting back to Nuga?
yeah, just a little bit off the
Okay.
top, and then give them the treasure chest full of whatever, and we'll keep the rod.
Make a... Tell you what, make a deception check.
Because us as a party, we don't actually need very much money.
You don't have to roll particularly high on this.
Good news. That's a 12.
12?
Yeah.
Roll percentile.
Huh? 49.
49.
Very average roll.
You figure clearly this is a disorganized treasure. Nobody's been through here and counted it. The guy who was in charge of overseeing this ritual, his big idea was to eat himself to be the strongest man in the universe.
Yeah.
You figure if you took it out in various denominations of coins and gems, you could probably skim 49 platinum pieces off of this treasure without the orcs noticing or making much fuss.
Alright, that sounds good to us. We'll just take some money, give them the rest.
And
Sounds like a plan.
about the time you guys are done down here, Nuga has rallied up, gotten his orcs together and rallied up the rest of the female hill giants, big boots included, here at the encampment in the middle of the sheep. And it's kind of marching them out the front door, out the front gate, as you guys are coming up from the other side.
Like, I want to ask the Fisher monk. I want to ask him, what were they doing on the top of the tower every day with this staff?
He tells you following orders.
What were the orders?
And he clams up and does not tell you. You guys have denied him the good death that he was entitled to. You don't spit in a man's face and then demand answers from him.
To be fair, we wouldn't have found it out if we had given him the death even. So
We don't know Speak with Dead?
no,
We're
not
getting
yet.
there.
Okay.
I mean, we could just. Would it still be a good death if we threw him in the river?
No. Where are
Birdie.
you in the river?
And
Birdie,
as the hill giants
go away.
are being gathered up and taking the provisions they need for their journey, Nuga summons you guys back up into the long hall, up at the top of the dam. And he bids you to bring the chest so that you can divvy up your shares.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll lug it up there for him.
And he tells you exactly what Wendy surmised, that they're going to want what the box and the coin, the gems. You guys can take the magical staff. He tells you this
And we'll drop the box.
strikes him as fair. Does anybody bring up the fact that Wendy palmed 49 platinum?
No.
No.
What? Don't be silly.
Even
I mean,
Adrex doesn't do that.
I'm sure Red noticed, but he won't say
Well,
anything.
I was under the impression you guys talked this over. Like, everybody knew that you guys skimmed
Oh,
something off.
Yeah.
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 He tells you that... I mean, after you guys are divvying the things up and he has his people take the box over, at this point they've got the giant pee-filled, urine-stained poo platter that the Orc Eater was sitting on. They're clearing that away. They've already rolled the dead out into the lake.
Well, that lake is no longer safe to drink from.
Yeah.
He,
So, like, on
what's
downstream?
that?
They're just gonna end up with giants jamming their dam. This was on the downstream.
Giants infected with flesh rot.
Yeah, that seems like a bad...
away.
I mean, his feeling is that by pushing the dead giants into the lake, the current will squeeze them through these logs, and they can watch their blood run through the lower level of the dam for weeks and weeks to come.
No, yeah, that sucks. Go ahead.
That's pretty sadistic.
Well,
Yeah.
I was worried about giving these orcs this base, but now they're all going to die of flesh rot, so I don't care.
He tells you that you and your
That's just not
comrades
hygienic.
will be welcomed with honor anytime your journeys bring you back to his hall. And as you're about to leave,
Mhm.
one of his orcs, one of his lieutenants, comes up and whispers something to him, and he calls out after you. He says, "We've determined a problem in the splitting of our shares.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is how bad he rolled on his insight. He says that he believes the coin and the jewels, the resources that he's going to put to use to build his tribe strong here on this lake. He believes them to be in excess of the treasure that you've taken." Two of his lieutenants come over, and they set in front of you a quiver of 20 of his arrows and 3 bowstrings.
That's a bad roll.
And tells you that with these gifts, the split is equal.
Okay.
Not in return. And I'll say that I'll use it to string up his enemy's bow.
So what kind of bowstrings are these?
The arrows are not magical, but they are masterfully crafted. Their tribe, their specialty is they are the best archers and fletchers probably in these mountains. When you fire one of these arrows, you can reroll any ones on the damage dice.
Oh, neat.
Once you fired it, you can recover it like normal, but it only has that ability the first time you fire it. Never flies as true the second time.
Okay.
The bowstrings will turn any short or long bow into a +1 weapon. You decide at the end of a long rest whether you strung your bow with your regular string or with this one. If you do so with this one, you fire as though it's a +1 magical weapon. But on a 1, the string snaps and becomes useless.
Don't give those strings to Adrex. Got it.
Who is taking these gifts?
I mean,
We've
I'll
got
take-
3 people that use bows, so
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's almost like I planned that out for that reason.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I'm not too worried about the arrows. That's probably better for Windy because I don't care if I roll a 1. I've got 4 more 6s on the way.
Okay.
When I re-roll 1s on the damage die, is that just for the longbow damage or any damage that I'm rolling for as part of that?
No, just when you fire from the longbow.
Okay.
You decide at the end of a long rest whether you want to use the regular string or your magical string.
Okay. Sure. I'll split those arrows with Birdie if you want.
no, you can have them. I'll
Okay.
just take one of the strings.
Cool.
And so you guys have made a tenuous ally in the Titan Spine Mountains.
Oh, before we leave, where's the bitch lord Taglith? Do we have to? Wait, we got the thing. We don't actually need to fight him, do we?
You don't. He's
No.
Yeah,
We
you
have
have
the
his treasure.
But I want to know what this rod is. And why they're
Um,
performing this ritual.
Regarding the deal was mentioned that we would let the hobgoblins go if they if the smith would repair a set of plate armor for
Okay.
Raazu. Where did that go?
That's doable, but you'll have to wait here while the work is done. Or come back for it in a
Okay.
little while.
All right. I guess we just cut them loose then. In that case, if it's going to take too long.
I mean, we don't have
Yeah.
to go where we really need to be.
Yeah, we can always swing back for it later. Like after we drop the rod off. And once we figure out what this rod is. Adrex,
I mean, I don't have any problem with just staying around here for a few days. Those orcs don't mind.
No, they don't. They consider you comrades and allies. You've helped them usurp
Okay.
their jailer
friends
and
with orcs.
gave them the gift of this dam. And from this position, with their skills, they'll be able to hold off any number of opposing tribes.
By the way, you guys know why Wendy was so concerned about getting a little bit of money, right? Gotta finish those cooking classes.
Gotta finish cooking.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Gotta finish them.
So, when Adrex is not looking, I'm going to take the rod from him,
No, you're not.
and I'm going to go see if I can't identify it.
You were
Or
doing
just
it in
examine
Adrex's presence. He's not taking his eyes off that rod because he knows what you're going to do with it.
Like, well, I'm just going to mess with it and see if I can't activate it.
You gonna mess with it? What are you doing with it?
I don't know. Saying abracadabra and waving it in the air. I don't
Saying
know.
abracadabra and waving it in the air doesn't do anything.
Well,
Are we resting for the night near the place?
You guys can rest at the dam, or you could go camp in the woods, whatever you want to do.
All right.
why don't we stay in the forge?
Yeah, I'm going to recharge that water wand
Okay.
Yeah, the
D4 plus 1.
because we're right next to a
In,
nice
in the Flesh
river.
Roddy River.
Yeah.
What's its new name now? Flesh Rot River.
Everybody go take the I can't talk. Everybody go ahead and take the benefit of a long rest.
Mhm.
Please pardon me while I porky pig for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm considering seeing if I can sneak keeping this water wand away from Birdie, just because typically, if someone wants to put out a fire, it's not Birdie.
Listen, the 2 times we've put out a fire, I was going to do it, you beat me to it, and the other one, I did put out the fire.
You're like an anti-fire putter outer. You are a fire generator.
Adrex, you have excruciatingly vivid dreams of the journey down out of the mountains and into the Fey woods, deep into the places of the forest where you know it's extremely dangerous to go, to where you know it touches the Feywild at the center. This journey is so vivid and so clear to you that when you wake up the next morning to find that you haven't undertaken it, it's almost like you're going to be doing it for a second time. It becomes clear that this is the place you need to take this rod to.
All right. Cool beans. Yeah, that was all right.
Nobody goes and checks up on Dosho? Nobody cares? Okay, that's fine.
I'll check up with Dosha on the way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's assuming we're gonna drop off Big Boof before we go on this perilous adventure into the Feywoods.
Yeah, when you said
This
nobody
one.
cares about Dosho, like the hairs on my neck stood up. I'm like,
Yeah.
how'd you get that impression?
Yeah, no joke.
Now, the Hill Giants have been returned to their beaten and exiled husbands in the hills. And they're still bitter and violent and evil creatures. But they're happy in their own way.
And
Yeah,
they
that's
have
good.
and they have flesh rot, except for Big Boof.
The flesh rot goes away after 7
That's
days,
all
though,
we-
so it's fine.
That's all we care about, though, is Big Boof got home.
I'm still sad Big Boof is not a dog, because that is a great name for a dog.
We can get you a dog named Big Boof if you want.
Man, don't tempt me.
So, what else?
When you guys arrive at this Fey crossing, led by Adrex, who knows the path because he's already walked it. You come upon this.
And Adrex describes it in like detail, like minutes before, seconds before it actually happens, making it really creepy too.
You come upon
Yeah, it's really weird.
this beautiful moonlit grove underneath this waterfall. And sitting amidst the trees there, you notice Severus, the Fey dandy that you met at Princess Dandelion's little shindig, the one that essentially conned you and Birdie into signing this contract.
No, I signed nothing.
How do you know the contract didn't
Yeah.
say that you didn't have to sign it? How do you know the contract didn't say if Adrex signs this, I get Birdie's soul?
Kobolds don't
That's
have
true.
souls.
So you recognize Severus, and what are you doing with the rod as you approach?
Twirling it like a baton.
Yeah, I imagine at some point in this adventure, Adrex dropped off his guard just enough to let Birdie swipe it. So
I've got it over my head. I'm holding it like a small child holding.
and Adrex is just like, I'm just whatever.
And he confirmed that this is the treasure that Taglis stole from him, and asks for it back.
What's it do?
He asks you if you would hear a story.
I love stories. Absolutely.
I also would like to hear the story because I want to know what this staff is.
In fact, Adrex sits on the ground, puts his feet together, and looks up, very excited.
He tells you that there was a boy named Montague, an adventurous youth who had the ability to shapeshift into a sprite, one of the fun-loving little fellows that threw rocks at you guys, and etc., etc. Montague sought his fortune by crossing into the Prime Material, where he would play tricks and japes, often cruel ones, in order to steal and scam riches from his marks. The Feywild side of this crossing was on land owned by an old hag, and the hag asked that Montague pay tribute for use of her land. But he refused and attacked her in his arrogance. The hag begged for her life, insisting that she would place a charm on him, that his next excursion through the Fey Crossing, he would find gold and jewels beyond his wildest dreams. And so, the next time he crossed, the hag's curse took hold, and he twisted and petrified into the bejeweled staff that he now inhabits. And Severus tells this story, sadly, as he's twisting and turning the staff in the moonlight to see the dual expressions on the boy's face.
Is this your brother then, or something?
Rather pointedly dodging Raazu's question, he looks up at Adrex, says that your contract fulfilled. What payment will you take?
Birdie whispers, "Ask for something magical."
Ask for a sandwich.
Oh god.
This is only a test.
Was that in the contract? I thought we got the hat out of it.
I'm gonna slap that right off your face.
I mean, nobody read this contract. You have no idea what was in this contract.
Oh man.
Ask
Contract
for magical flaming sword.
Oh God.
If you do not ask for a magical flaming sword, I'm gonna send you to jail.
I've always wanted a magical flaming sword. Adrex says with a grin creeping across his face.
Severus says that... Well, he asks to see what sort of sword you use.
Adrex shows the short sword that he uses.
He says that the thing you ask is a princely item indeed,
Is it?
but that he has seen great swords wreathed in flames, carried by some of the Feywild's most heroic figures. He says to come back to this place in 6 moons' turns.
And Adrex looks up at the sky trying to figure that out.
Wendy can explain it to you.
Oh, Wendy can't see the moon. Wendy is like 95% sure there is no moon.
Red can explain it to you.
He then informs his little homunculus familiar, the little gremlin guy who was sitting on his shoulder during the party, who had been slinking unseen and untrusting in the treetops until now. Calls him over with a bag of coin. Asks that you take this as advance payment.
Alright. Adrex takes the bag.
Okay. Inside is 1,600 gold pieces.
It is a
What the hell are
windfall.
we gonna do with 1,600?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting you to steal 490 from the goddamn orcs.
I only
Training.
stole
We can buy them.
490.
It'll be fine.
Oh, actually, you know what?
Really good cooking lessons.
I
Yeah.
actually miscalculated that. You get 1,110 gold pieces. How about that?
No. I already wrote it down, Brick.
Okay.
I forgot.
So if you come back to this area in a matter of weeks, they will have a set of plate armor for Raazu. If you come back to this area in a matter of months, we will play some kind of fey trickery on Adrex.
He'll get the
Sounds about
illusion
it.
of a flaming sword. I mean, that dude said he found a flyer greatsword. That should be like 4 or 5 flaming swords. He only uses short.
Now, I have a lot of math to do to set up your guys' experience for the week. And when we pick it up next week, I think we'll start with a round of... We'll do however much downtime you guys want to do. And then jump into our next adventure, which, as far as I can tell by my notes here, says something about pirates. So that'll be fun.
Yay, pirates!
What do you guys say? We plan to do enough downtime to get Raazu her plate and call it a day?
I
Yeah.
don't see a reason not to do the full 6 months, but
Because by that point, I will be bored. Wendy will be 6 months closer to dead by then.
Yeah, that's true.
fine.
Yeah, they only lived to be what, 20?
Like 10.
Okay, so who furthered the party's goals today?
Hmm.
Oh no, 30 years. That's pretty good.
I mean, you did spend a year in the Feywild, though, that you don't remember.
Oh,
that might not count. Yeah.
Party's goals. Well, the party's goals were to
Kill giants.
get the treasure, and Windy was the first one to remember that we were going after the treasure. So, Windy?
Sure.
All right.
So
Blip.
then,
Creative.
yeah, who was creative today?
Birdie did something, and I can't remember what it was.
Birdie did something.
And I really liked it. And it wasn't the hunger of Hadar. It was something else that he did. Birdie, what did you do today?
I don't remember now that you've put me on the spot like that. Plus, all I remember is the hunger of Hadar.
Was it the minor
Uh,
illusion that Brick argued him out of?
Yeah, but I'm okay with. I'm down with it. It's a good idea. It just wouldn't work. in
Was that it,
case.
McDohl?
I don't think that was it. Maybe it was a hunger, and I'm just... The way it worked, it as like a choke point.
He's just like hungry, but he's...
All right, then who was a badass today?
I did use all of my blips, just so you guys know.
Yeah, that's why we're giving you blips.
Yeah. So who
Well,
was
to
a
be fair, that's
badass
why we're
today?
giving him blip.
I gotta have at least 3 at the end of this to get.
Raazu did end the one giant and then stood on her corpse like a boss.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking that too.
Sounds good to
And
me.
for intangibles, Red going for the armor.
He wanted that armor.
I really enjoyed that for some
No, it was so when we killed the first hobgoblin, I'm like, wait, their AC is better than we should take whatever armor they're wearing, was what was going through my head.
Yeah.
This building's on fire. We have to rescue the armor. Like, yeah, I
Red
agree.
is just like, listen, this building's not going to burn down for the next 6 seconds, so I'm fine. This building might as well not be on fire for that 6 seconds.
Yep.
By the way, I am taking that wand back.
I don't know about that.
Like, we will spend the next, 10 sessions stealing it back and forth from each other.
I love that the previous party had a literal taker in it, and there's not as much thievery going on as there is right now.
Windy is a literal bird.
So
Like-
I'm going
She doesn't even think of the wand as Birdie's wand. She thinks of it as the wand that Birdie's holding. It's the party's wand.
Yeah, but you guys never use any of the magical stuff.
Because you hoard it.
That is a minor and not relevant detail.
We always have to rummage through your pack if we want something magical.
Yeah, at this point, I think Red probably knows how your pack is laid out better than you.
Red is the one who laid out the pack so that we could find things in it easier.
It was sheer happenstance that Adrex actually had the potion of enlarge.
No, it isn't. I gave it to you. I said, "Here, you
That's
hold
not
this."
helping your cause any.
Like I specific, and I gave the potion of contagion to Wendy.
Which
So
I
that
didn't use because it wasn't my potion. It was the party's.
I mean, it's all for the best. We and Raazu got to stroke some pigs.
Never say that again, please.
Listen, we're just saying you did a good job massaging that pork. That pork shoulder.
Okay. Nodal.
Listen, if anyone in this party can appreciate massaging a good pork shoulder, it's Wendy. She's got 6 more weeks of learning how to do that. Actually, is that true? How many more weeks do I have? I only have 4 weeks. I only need 10 of those platinum. Then I don't care how much money we have. Money is meaningless beyond how much cooking it can get us.
Okay, money is meaningless. No more treasure this campaign. Understood.
No,
No,
what you
I
need
just
to
heard
do,
him.
though,
I heard
is
him. He
just
said
give
money
us-
is meaningless. Heard loud and clear. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
That's fine.
who wants to make
you
a
can
case
give us
for
wands and scrolls?
their blips this week? It's always helpful for me if Raazu goes first because she's the first one in my spreadsheet here.
I'm still assembling
All right,
some
what
stuff.
about Wendy?
All right. I've got good as helping others. We were in the middle of a kind of horrific combat, and I went through that giant to heal Birdie. Even though it was absolutely not what I wanted
It
to
was
do.
a
that
gross, sweaty, flesh rotty. Like it would have been gross even without the flesh rot. These are giant, sweaty, horrible, hairy hill giants.
I think he means he didn't want to heal Birdie.
Listen. It's not that I didn't want to heal Birdie. End of
Okay,
sentence.
what else you got for me?
Redirection. Popping open that window and then running over to use Birdie to use Raazu to turn off the fire. It's just like, okay, I need to put this person's thing in this area so this person can use this. Meanwhile, I'm just kind of moving around. I feel like that's the most monk thing.
I'm going to
Wendy
give that
does.
to you, but I will... I'd have to come clean. I fat-fingered it, and instead of typing a 1 there, I accidentally typed 0.1, so you're only getting 1/10 of a blip for that.
Oh, damn.
Anything else?
And I think that was... Oh, no, there was one last thing. Bond. Our place in the world is to take apart what isn't working and make something that is. I don't feel like we did that with the orcs, but that doesn't mean that, like, because we didn't make the place any worse, that doesn't mean I suddenly want to go and turn over these hobgoblins to the orcs. So that's why Wendy was trying to come up with an argument that her party would buy in order to let these hobgoblins stay alive.
And by party, you mean Raazu.
I mean Raazu mostly, yeah.
Adrex have anything for me?
Yes. Aspect, signature style, energetic. It probably would have been better to open that door and let the other party members come out and fight the bugbears together. But instead, when he saw 2 of them working together, he decided, you know what? I'm just going to take one of them out.
I had contingencies for basically going through the door from the front, like eliminating the bugbears, destroying the windows, or going down through the floor and crawling out the mud. Are the 3 ways I figured you guys would take care of that.
Bonds, my cool friends and I are working to make the world a better place. I need to make sure they don't get carried away. Adrex, after seeing what happened with the hill giant in the fort, he wanted to make sure that that goblinoid also didn't get murdered after he surrendered.
So Adrex's read on that scenario is that the fisher monk surrendered. Okay.
Yeah. Because he threw down his staff and he was just like, "Now is the time to behead me." Which is no. You can't give this orc or not.
So Adrex reads Hobgoblin
Goblin
resignation as surrender.
I don't know if it's all Hobgoblin resignation like that, but definitely, yeah, no, like, I'm bested here, I throw down my weapon. If that next part is, now you will kill me, Adrex is, no, absolutely not. You have surrendered. We are not going to end your life just because you lost. That's
Okay.
absurd.
Anything else?
Flaws, that sounds like a great idea. Windy told Adrex to go and move Raazu out of the way. And Adrex, without even thinking about it, said, "Yep." Okay.
I don't know whether or not it was fair or balanced or whatever to make you guys roll a d8 to see which way these giants fell when you killed them. But it was entertaining for me, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
I'm very happy I didn't get squished.
You very nearly did.
But at the same time, I'm a little disappointed.
You could have.
That's the way Birdie's gonna go out.
You could have
for
been made
sure.
into have your own little snort moment. Birdie, what you got for me?
I've got focus on the little things. I stood my ground. Make the tribe stronger any way I can. I stood my ground in front of the smithy with Adrex instead of running away immediately. And when they ran up on me, I lured the guy away using myself as bait to let Adrex get an attack of opportunity.
And this is one of those scenarios. I don't know if Adrex did it on purpose or if it was a happy accident, but this is one of those scenarios where I think it is to your credit as a group how well you guys are playing to each other's strengths in this campaign, which is designed to purposely be very brutal. Because make no mistake, if Adrex had chosen to be on the other side of that door, I don't see a good way for Birdie to survive that. You had two bugbears, the hobgoblin coming around one side, plus the fisher monk on the roof.
Oh, I would have went underneath the house. There's none of that.
If any
No,
of us are
that's-
gonna survive through scurrying underneath a house, it's Birdie.
What else you got
sure.
for me, Birdie?
That's it.
What does Red have for me?
Alignment, neutral good, survival requires the greatest number. Taking out the Orc Eater and getting all of the remaining the giants that were wise enough to listen to reason when they were told what was going to go down, getting all of them and killing, the kind of brutal slaver types in the area. In Red's mind, he knows orcs probably won't be, in general, aren't necessarily better, but these orcs might be better.
We can always murder them later.
And then I also had flaw. It is often best just to do what needs to be done. Explaining it to the others would be a waste of time. For running to the back of the burning building and grabbing a suit of armor for my companion while the building was going up on flames, because it was pretty obvious we probably need better armor.
Okay. And Raazu, you were supposed to go first. You didn't, so you missed your chance. See you next week.
Oh, darn. Okay. Razu's aspect. When my anger is roused, I have trouble thinking straight, and I fear I might do something I'll regret. Raazu did give Birdie the evil eye when he turned around and dropped a Hunger of Adar right in her face.
That was last week. Oh no, that was.
You do it so often. You're
I like
starting.
how
to
it's
mix-
blended. I like how it's blended together now. You're turning into Nick like for reals now.
Last week it was on her face. This week it was just in her face.
Listen. Like, if you want me to cast something else, find me more magical things so I can then.
We
learn.
have.
This guy.
So, the original encounter, the way I designed it was like these hobgoblins were going to alert the people in the next room, and you have to kind of fight them on two fronts. As soon as he dropped Hadar, I'm like, no, they just go out the back door with the treasure,
Nope.
and then I don't have to worry about setting up the second encounter at all. It just Treble did it for me this week. So thanks for making my job a little easier.
I'm here for you.
What else does Raazu have?
Raazu's ideal. A blade can end a life, fear can end an empire. Raazu kind of breaking from what she did last week, she let the party decide what this monk's fate was going to be.
Okay. Anything else?
Her bond. A sword arm is only the beginning of a greater world, but it is a necessary first step. Raazu did a lot of heavy lifting in that combat.
She was also lifted heavily and used as a club.
That's part of the stat block, by the way. It's just they get 2 great club attacks with their multi-attack. I'm like, okay, I could just skin this to be more fun. I can damage both of them. 1 club.
And then finally, her flaw. I take any advantage if I can, if it will aid my allies, regardless of the consequences. Raazu was all about turning the hobgoblins prisoners over to the orcs, who she saw as now the rightful conquerors of this place.
Even though you guys did most of the conquering?
Even though we did most of the heavy lifting, it's not our style to have this kind of a place to ourselves.
We give one blip for the most creative solution to a problem this session. Who was that?
We decided on Birdie for an attempted creative action when he was like trying to emulate when he was thinking about emulating the giant's voice. Like, it's thinking outside the box, and that should be recognized.
So I was in the moment. I'm trying to reconcile. We have a very rare case in 5e where they actually do tell you how loud the spell can be with a specific reference. And in Storm King's Thunder, they tell you exactly how loud giants are with another specific reference. So
Nice.
it's like, but I love the idea of imitating a giant's voice without matching the volume, kind of like somebody just turned it way down.
I like it more not being able to speak giant.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's
We give
like that kind of that's
one
that'd
blip
be
for
good.
the assist. Who furthered the party's goals the most this week?
I think that was we decided on red, right? For
I think it was Windy for remembering that the
We were there for
treasure was a
treasure.
thing.
oh shit, treasure.
I'm not gonna lie. I did forget.
Yeah, I didn't bother rolling for like figuring how much treasure was in the box because I knew that Severus was going to pay you guys anyway. But y'all greedy. That's fine. That's fine too. Who gets the badass split this week?
Raazu for taking down a giant and then immediately perching on her corpse to continue the fight.
You didn't roll the perch though.
Yeah, you
I
didn't
didn't
roll
roll
the
the-
perch. You landed on her corpse. We're not going to give you perching.
Mm,
Mounted that giant.
Who gets the intangibles?
see that's
Red for
Red
taking
for-
the armor.
For doing some Windows shopping.
He's basically
Okay.
yeah.
His initial thought was, "Let's go save the
Fire
armor."
sale.
God.
All right. So
Okay, there's the blip. There's why we give him the blip for that one right
first
there.
encounter:
Then we
1
take it away.
hobgoblin, 4 ogres, 3 hill giants. The orc eater, the big guy, an Etten and a partridge in a pear tree. Split 6 ways.
There it is.
Everybody comes out with 1,583 experience.
How much was the partridge worth?
0.
That's a
0.
3.
Partridge is just there for
Oh.
flavor. It's just a garnish.
Okay.
Okay.
Second encounter with 3 hobgoblins, 2 bugbears, the fisher monk, and the smithy. Everybody split 5 ways. Everybody makes out with 740 experience. That is a session total of 2,323 this week. And let's see who gets a straw poll blip. I would.
How much are blips worth?
They are.
Someone's level 7 now, or level 8 now, so I think they went up.
466.
Yeah, Adrex. Late now.
I'm halfway through 7.
I get the feat that I want. Oh, this is gonna be.
And Adrex is our straw poll this week.
Yay!
And I'm awarding
All right.
everybody 1 blip for successfully reuniting Dosho and Big Booth. So, Wendy, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4. I got you with 5 blips this week.
Okay.
Adrex, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for you as well.
Adrex.livejournal.com.
Yeah, I did a.
Oh, then
Update
plus 1
too.
for that. Oh yeah, I did read that earlier today. Birdie, I've got 1, 2, 3 for you this week.
Plus the
Plus 1
video.
for video. Red is 1, 2, 3, 4 blips this week.
All right.
And the other guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The full Monty for Raazu.
Okay. Said 466 for blip experience.
Rollovers are worth 466. Do we want to go ahead and just preemptively spend 3 blips for Birdie for next session's Hunger of Hadar?
Well, like if you would stop putting big clumps of enemies together in small spaces.
At some point, somebody who puts up the videos should figure out what level Birdie would be if he hadn't cast Hunger of Hadar every single session.
So who leveled up this week?
Level 37 Kobold.
Adrex
Who's
did.
level-
Adrex got a lot of experience points this week. Yeah. Apparently, not
this week
spending
was
blips is really good.
This week was like a quarter of my experience for the next level.
So Adrex hit what, 8? What feat are you taking?
Yeah. I know I've been teasing about actually taking Dragon Wings,
Take it.
but no, I got to take the dual wielder feat.
You
Dual
coward.
wielder feat.
Aw.
Yeah, I get a
God.
bonus 1 to AC, and I can use 2 weapon fighting even when the one-handed melee weapon you are wielding isn't light.
Ooh.
Wait,
Yeah.
did you just tell that guy to make you a flaming short sword and then get a feat that makes it worthless?
Adrex might go back immediately and say, wait.
Non-sniper bonus!
I'm like 5,000 experience away from leveling. I'm really far
Because you
behind.
cast Hunger of Hadar every week.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, not every week.
I mean, think about it. If you cast Hunger of Hadar, that's what, a 3rd level spell? It costs
Yeah,
it costs
so that's like
1,400
12.
experience to cast that spell.
Yeah, those last 2 hungers were literally 3,000 experience.
Yeah, Raazu flushed like 2,000 experience down the toilet on Dominate Person class.
It is the trolliest spellcasting system ever devised.
Yep.
So that's it. When we come back next
Little
week,
bit.
I've got a new adventure in the works. Something Pirates.
Yay, something pirates.
And I'll see
I'm
everybody
just
then.
not gonna.
Peace out, guys.
Later.
Later.
See ya.